The CCR standards are organized into a framework that includes strands, anchor standards, and level-specific standards. Let's spend a few minutes getting to know the different pieces of this framework, so when you're ready to use the standards, you'll understand their structure. The standards are organized into four main areas called strands. These strands encompass reading, which also has foundational skills for students performing in the lower levels, writing, speaking and listening, and language. Now, if we look at the structure of the strands, each strand has several anchor standards which focus on broad college and career readiness skills specific to that strand. Depending on the strand, the number of anchor standards range from 6 to 10. It's important to note that the order in which the anchor standards are presented does not indicate their importance or the order in which they're to be taught. Finally, each of the anchor standards is divided into 5 levels of level-specific standards A through E. These, as the name implies, refer to level-specific expectations related to the broad skills described in the anchor standard. Keep in mind the main purpose of the standards, both anchor and level-specific, is to guide you in planning your classroom instruction. Next, let's take a closer look at one of the anchor standards found in Chapter 4 of the CCR Standards document. On page 14, you'll find Reading Anchor Standard 1. The top box here identifies the anchor standard and describes the broad college and career readiness skill. In this case, the standard focuses on having your students use logical inferences and cite textual evidence to support the conclusions based on the text. You'll also notice there are 5 columns below the anchor standard labeled A through E. These contain the level-specific standards, with A through E representing 5 performance levels relating to close reading and the citing of text. Keep in mind, the skill grows in complexity from level A, where students should be able to ask and answer questions about key details in a text, to level E, which has students cite strong and thorough textual evidence. Now, how do these levels relate to the levels of students you teach? The levels are based on our field, state, and national classifications, but they came from the K through 12 Common Core state standards, so you'll get 2 kinds of information: grade level and national reporting system levels, as you see here. Your program may call classes by different names, so it's important to know which CCR levels they're targeting. That way you'll know which level-specific standards to reference when planning and selecting materials for instruction. All of the CCR standards use the same table format shown here. So once you're familiar with this structure, you'll be able to follow all of the standards found in the CCR Standards document. Finally, spend some time really reading and getting to know the CCR anchor and level-specific standards, since they're constructed in a way that makes every word in them important.